someone that's never seen this play will hear the call for the first time and be like, who's that guy? That guy's fucking awesome. Like, how does that feel as just the mark you've left on the game?
Is surreal the right word?
Teleport from balls coming in actually from the base. Tyrus just out of range on that. Home guard wears off. Not much damage from the shockwave, but the control TSM needs to reassess the fight. Balls gets hit up. The Glacial Fisher on the backside. They've bottlenecked into this fight and are going for broke.
What are the specifics that jump out to you when you rewatch or remember the call?
It actually feels like I didn't do Turtle enough service because I was watching where Kha'Zix was going. As a play-by-play, you're who's going to start that fight first. And you're always trying to pick out the best thing, what's happening in that moment. And for that moment, it was, you know, who was going to be able to take out, to grab one of the junglers. And until Jat said, Wild Turtle, I was up top. And with Turtle just hanging out down here, pokes his head out of his shell, I didn't see him forever. So all of these things are happening at once. Turtle says, this Guardian Angel's coming back up in front of me. There's a rocket coming over that shoulder. He flashes over the wall into Sneaky's face. And this is the moment, right before that is when Jat called it out. Because at this point, the analyst is your godsend. They're like, all right, bring me back around. There's a lot of holy crap happening, and we just gotta figure this out.
High goes in, tries to get his ultimate down. Last breath has already been used. Coming up with focus from Guardian Angel. Turtle on the triple, Turtle on the quadra.
And it's not like Wild Turtle anything. It's just, you know, Turtle on the double, Turtle on the triple, Turtle on the quadra. And that call itself, it feels good to say because it reminds me of the moments that he's done it because, oh my God, has he done it a lot? Turtle getting triples and quadras. Had I only gotten to it sooner, I feel like I could have done it more justice, but those few parts of the call feel really, really good.
They're not able to utilize this big engage. Tyrus just out of range on that. Home guard wears off. Not much damage from the shockwave, but the control TSM needs to reassess the fight. Balls gets hit up. The Glacial Fisher on the backside. They've bottlenecked into this fight and are going for broke. High goes in, tries to get his ultimate down. Last breath has already been used. Coming up with focus from Guardian Angel. Turtle on the triple, Turtle on the quadra. Meteos on the outside. A second quadra in the playoffs for Turtle.
I was like, oh yeah, I remember that call. Like, I'm like starting to replay like the play in my head with you. Like, oh man, it's so crazy how like one little line, I'm like, oh yeah, that's like.
It's like a smell.
Yeah, that's like.
It's memory.
The classic, almost a It's such a great memory.
TSM goes the full 5 and takes down Cloud9 to be the 2014 North American champions.
That's so great.
I was gonna say LCS and I didn't.
Welcome back. Watch my show. It's coming out tomorrow as usual on Saturdays, 30 minutes before the LCS begins.
I'm so glad you interviewed Riv too. Definitely been missing him. Good to see him, talking about the old days once again.
Now, someone did ask me, did we only interview Riv for this piece? No, there's many more players in there as well. So enjoy that when it comes out. But I do want to keep a couple of them secret. One, I hope you're all very excited to see again. It's been a while.
I'm excited. Just keep it shrouded in.
I will.
Yeah. Honestly, getting right into Immortals versus TSM here. It's very interesting because it's been heavily discussed. The Immortals explosive 3-0 at the beginning of summer. They had Xerxes coming out on top all over the Rumble jungle. Bottom lane literally set a record. LCS record, biggest goal difference at 15 from the bottom lane. Big performances coming out there. And yet, 0-3 last week. So, full stabilization needs to occur here. I just saw Andre in the restroom and asked him for some spicy picks. I submitted my specific answers. I'm hoping they make their way onto the stage. I doubt it'll influence them at all, but one of them would be in the hands of revenge. I'd love to see give him Gwen, counterpick the Gwen with Riven. All right.
Does one of them start with F and end in Iddlesticks?
No, I actually lobbied harder so I wanted to lobby for something that would be easier for them to actually incorporate, like Diana Jungle. I feel like that one is probably more likely to get on stage. And, other leagues have had it already, but we haven't quite yet. Here we go, though, as we can jump into this one versus TSM, TSM rocking away up there at the top of the standings. Had a little bit of a speed bump over the Lucian mid pick, kind of snagged there in the middle for Power of Evil, but right back on top of it with the LeBlanc. So you know that they are definitely examining their approach to this meta, re-examining it each week, and I feel like they'll have a bit more attention towards some of those champs for him, the man on screen.
Yeah, PoE, it's interesting, right? Because I think TSM, understandably, like everybody wants to win, and prioritizing winning now, stabilizing yourself in the long season to make sure you can actually retain that top position, set yourself up well for the postseason, which, as a reminder, in the summer is also the Worlds qualifier, right? So much on the line in playoffs come summer. But TSM, I know, are also a team that, want to be more aggressive, want to have other styles. They're a team that often says they want to be aggressive and then is often, a little bit slower. I think that's naturally where the TSM comfort is, which has been true for maybe as long as they've been a team in many ways. But, you do eventually to branch out. We lost one.
The chair substitution over there. Looks like we will have a bit more time then, unless he's hiding somewhere under the desk. There he is. Hooney's back on stage, baby. One of the guys, referring to the pace of the game that does have a big influence on it is Hooney. And Hooney getting back to stage now. I'm very curious to see what sort of top lane champions they decide to incorporate this time around. I've actually really liked how TSM was one of the early teams to adapt and adopt Nocturne to the top lane and utilize the paranoia creatively and effectively for a lot of their team fights and create discord within their opponents and jump on those opportunities. I was so insanely jealous of the LEC game earlier today that had the Nocturne Fiddles combo. Definitely one of my all-time favorites. So I feel like TSM might be positioned as one of the teams in the LCS that would be able to pull it off. But let's get right into it. Everybody's back on stage. The chairs have been filled, and so will the band slots. No! Nocturne right off the table. Come on!
All right, well, good call at least on Hooney's effectiveness on that champion. Did see a pretty nice Nocturne game as well earlier in the day from EG. Lucian banned. I like it. Keep that one out of there. Still very powerful, right?
I bet a lot of fans like it too. They didn't have much success on it, but the respect from IMT, respecting, see, it goes two levels, because TSM, they stuck with it, because they had so much success the previous week in scrims with it, obviously, and they had back-to-back games on it, showed to it. So Immortals kind of playing off that there. Lulu does follow it up, though. Karma still will be available if you want to go that route. I don't expect it to be a TSM-sided ban. Probably more of the Gwen kind of Lee Sin are a little bit more popular to me, more priority, especially when playing versus a team that wants to flex like this.
All right, well, if you don't ban Karma, enemy team is probably picking Karma, so I guess that's something you have to decide if you want to let through or not. They decide no. I'd rather give something like the Gwen, Set, Lee Sin, all these kind of champions pretty good first picks. Seen a lot of Gwen first pick, and that will continue.
Yep, smiles on their faces. And let's see what the prepared counter from TSM is. Already displayed effectively have been the Gangplank, have been the Akali. Akali's not an option because it was self-banned, so we look more at the rest of the field available. Lee Sin, definitely super powerful as far as Spica can also even play it, flexible to the jungle, but bottom lane has been a super high priority there, and we might be getting a buff Sword Art this time around. Do they already want to jump towards Tom Kench, as we've seen it get split up earlier today? Feel like that combo's, you don't have to jump on anything else as far as a priority pick unless you really want to do take away some more AD threats from Immortals. So we do get a split. There's both, and the Lee Sin, as mentioned, of course, as well.
I like the Lee here. Again, Lee's one of his biggest assets is how flexible he is as a champion, so taking it early really doesn't cost you very much. Doesn't show too much as well, so IMT going to have the ball kicked back to them. We'll see how they want to round out their first phase of this draft.
I do feel like they want to keep it flexible enough to not have to play into the Gwen lane as well. So they will probably float their jungle pick. Meanwhile, Immortals on their side, picking up the Ezreal for Raze. I have to say the best games from Destiny have been on hook champions,
Yep.
though. The Blitzcrank, the Nautilus, the Thresh, all of these ones have been such good options for this team, and we'll see if they actually wanted to go that route. Nautilus would probably be the best to pair with Ezreal of those three mentioned.
Volibear. Okay, well, can play top lane, can play jungle scene. Obviously, a lot more jungle these days. Especially with Gwen in the game, you have to think that's likely Revenge's pick. So, IMT keeping things pretty sturdy here. Nothing too out of the box as TSM have one more pick.
Yeah, honestly, are they going to jump on a jungler here, or are they actually going to float it? Okay, they do float it to the later stages of the bans. They keep that Lee Sin flexible, as you're looking for, and the Tahm Kench is locked up for Senna. Most powerful combination. Buff Sword Art there, looking to Abyssal Voyage around a couple of these mid-game stages where they're trying to even out these side lanes. I'd say bans coming through then, trying to whittle down on Destiny's champ pool. Ezreal combinations, probably Leona as well, another very strong one with the amount of melee champion engage they have with Gwen and Volibear as well. So maybe the Leona follows up that Rakan ban. Nautilus is pretty good in finding those hooks in onto the TK, even if he devours somebody else to bring you in a little bit closer to.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned Blitzcrank, because Blitzcrank does have some
shield
little
breaking,
things. Yeah, little things
in.
against Tahm Kench. I don't know if you necessarily want to play this lane.
Yeah, it's not the best. That's why as soon as you see the early Ezreal, I'm kind of like, ah. Especially because when also the other option for me is when I'm facing an early Senna TK lane and I have an Ezreal, I feel inclined to try and pick double range. And just try and just bully this Tahm Kench, harass the Tahm Kench in lane so he doesn't get as fed, doesn't get as tanky, and that also takes away some of the options for the Senna stacking where she has to harass 2 range champions, makes it more costly. So you kind of delay soul generation, you delay a little bit of the Tahm Kench income. Problem is, both Lulu and Karma were banned as well as the Bard, so the other range options there for bottom lane are starting to dwindle. Soraka can be one that can harass pretty heavily in lane and also has the silence that can be very effective versus champs like Lee Sin. Combo breakers upon ward jumping or something in. If you smack the silence zone on the ground, you completely fumble their muscle memory as far as breaking the attempt for kick flashes and stuff like that. But you have to be very quick. So it's not super easy to do, and not a lot of people put a lot of time in on Soraka for bottom lane harassment.
Yeah, well, I like the mage read from IMT because there's so much AD on TSM side, especially with Jace being picked up here. That's presumably Huni's champion up against the Gwen he expects there from Revenge in top lane. But TSM happy to give Pee-wee counter pick here. IMT going to have to show us a little bit more. Ziggs did get buffed. Don't see it all that often in mid lane, although Insanity does like to play it. Bot lane also an option, but there it is! Ziggs!
Okay, that does mean Immortals are going to be very magic damage heavy. They still have the Ezreal, and if you... another range champion for bottom for trying to get some harassment down. I don't know if that will have enough power, actually. Sometimes Tahm Kench with the healing of Senna can actually just take the punishment anyways. It's going to be pretty decently magic damage heavy, so early no magic mantle.
Oh my goodness.
We heard a shout from the stage, by the way, since we're so close. Let's go. I believe it was from Destiny. I'm pretty sure I recognize his voice there as well. Locking in the Yuumi Ezreal. Well, he gets to take one hand off of the keyboard a little bit here for the end game possibilities too. I'm already thinking through it. Yuumi onto Gwen. Yuumi onto Gwen sounds like a freaking nightmare, okay? Especially if Revenge is able to get something to happen early. So already trying to construct a game plan for Immortals. You throw any sort of early attention towards Revenge's lane, towards that Gwen, help out versus Jace, which by the way is a winnable matchup if you play around your jungler. Because of the W, Gwen does not lose those early range disadvantage matchups like a lot of other melee top laners will. And if you just throw some jungle attention there, Gwen is so mobile, she can easily capitalize on a Volibear flash stun. You cast your E, flash stun them into the range so the E lands and they're slowed, then even if they flash, you can chase them down as Gwen. And if you get a fed Gwen with a Yuumi on top, that is going to be nightmares for TSM later on into the game. Super excited. We finally, though, we get some new stuff here. The Ziggs, the pastry time, even though we didn't spent a whole bunch of time on it just because he got some extra damage, and it's mostly wave clear, tower pushing. It's all the normal things you expect from Ziggs. It does make it difficult sometimes to end games versus Ziggs, or even push out these waves, because Ziggs has such incredible wave control, and you only have to kind of hover halfway roam down from the lane to be able to affect another lane with your ultimate for a giant instant wave clear, as well as some gank possibility fall up there. So magic resistance definitely going to be a high priority for TSM, but also thinking about the timeline where they have to worry about any sort of early money towards Gwen could create a nightmare with the cat on top.
We'll continue credit to Insanity for flexing a champion pool that only seems to grow deeper. I do like your Yuumi call out though. I kind of remember back to like Yuumi Olaf, right, which has a lot of similar flares, something like Karma's in Jao that's being played right now. So I feel like the blueprint is there for something like Yuumi empowering a Gwen and making life hell as the game goes on. But TSM are moving out into the South River here. Looks like Power of Evil's looking to ward.
Yeah, I mean, it builds up. Just basically one of the few shortcomings of Gwen is that she doesn't have her own hard CC. You have real slows to work off of. If you strap a Yuumi on that sucker later with the ultimate, it's going to solve those.
Oh, the lane's one.
Plus it's the classic, very annoying poke damage to feel on the bottom side, and fills the obligation where we are talking about the craving to punish Senna Tahm Kench in lane with double ranged, constantly throwing out these skill shots. And as you mentioned, if you get your early accuracy numbers up there for Raze and Destiny, so starting off with some early procs of the spell Thieves.
Well, as a reminder, if you're out and about and don't want to miss out on the match, an audio-only cast of the games is available through League Day. Be sure to check that out as well, which is super cool.
Yeah, great for working out, jogging down the street, in your
Driving back
car,
home.
commuting, or if you're in a boring meeting. Just go ahead and turn that one on. Uni does go for the delayed harassment here towards the blue side and get some information for his team, so they know now Xerxes starting top side for sure. Tiny bit of damage onto Revenge, and will get the early inside route towards the minion wave. Can he zone him off of experience range is the key, though. And it looks like from the minimap he was unable to do so. So good job there by Revenge. Bullies his way up towards the minions. Doesn't get zoned out.
This Yuumi skin is great. We'll watch this for a little bit longer because Soda is the one farming, of course. It's up to Lost to get the harassment really happening here, but we've definitely seen like Ezreal Karma right in week 1. That was one of the lanes I actually really liked from TL as a support look for Karma, and then maybe everyone realized that Karma was better off farming.
Yeah.
But let's see how much trouble it causes.
And generally, Ezreal Yuumi is quite weak into a lot of lanes early on and does need to scale, but because it is the Tahm Kench attempting to farm so much and getting into melee range, you can see them just pelting him with damage. They're trying to work through the health bar and force their priority that way. So it's not as weak as you normally expect from it into a more standard lane, and it's going to be a rush of damage numbers. Can the Senna healing keep Sword Art upright long enough? He's got biscuits plus the shield being delivered, so looks like it will just be a war of attrition down in the bottom side.
All right, well, Xerxes farming up, nice and casually. Speaker doing the same. Volibear a touch faster by the looks of things, but looks like the first encounter with the Scuttle Crab will begin soon. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, welcome to Summoner's Rift. You immediately get stunned in the face. There's storm crashing down on top of you. And there goes your crab dinner for Xerxes. Is he actually going to try and crash this big wave and go for a dive? No, just goes for the Scryer's Bloom. Like that a lot more. Can't really pull off anything versus Senna Tahm Kench early. I feel like that's crazy, especially if your bottom lane is the Ezreal Yuumi. They do have an Ignite packed in there with the Ezreal, but or with the Yuumi. But unless you land literally every skill shot and get a super significant health advantage, it's not going to happen.
So Speaker was up top briefly, but I think shadowing Huni in case Xerxes was on the other side of the map, which of course we know he isn't. And now the farming will just continue. Mid lane also at one point was looking nice for Insanity in the early levels, but PoE is catching up. Not expecting to get ahead early on.
It is Yuumi time.
It is.
What does that mean to you?
I don't know.
Because it means different things to different people. Very different things.
Very divisive.
And even though I'm very, outspoken cat supporter. Not so much on the Rift. We'll see though. Does provide some fantasy type gameplay for melee assassins especially, and so that's why I kind of want to see the versatility of the champion displayed here. Not always just autopiloting to your AD carry. Yes, it's great with Ezreal for the poke synergy for early on, but we shall see later as they transition towards the mid game. Back to TSM though. With this TSM lineup, because we spent so much time on these differences that Immortals are kind of deviating from a lot of the norm right now, TSM do have some decent pressure on them. You've got Power of Evil back on his LeBlanc. Very big performance from him last weekend to get that win for TSM. And they've got the Jace top lane for Huni. So Huni has always tried to play his champion as aggressively as possible. Goes into the split pushing. He's got his early reset off. They're both even teleporting immediately back for their lane rather than trying to save it for any sort of bottom lane scenario, because the bottom lanes are both so defensive with multiple escape opportunities. It's so much better to use your early teleport for that top side to keep up that pressure, and you see TSM will easily slip in. Just with the reset timer there for bottom side, actually the Ezreal Yuumi not even resetting. They're just trying to finish up their minions that were pushed into them. So good job there by Lost and Sword Art to open up the objective for Spica. And Huni once again continuing to lay that punishment early onto the Gwen, onto Revenge, and try and keep him under turret, deny some minions that way. Been
Huni doing
fairly
well
effective so far.
as far as CS is going. But now a collapse here in the top side. A Speaker will find Xerxes shortly.
Hands off. That is not yours. Your solo laner's getting beat up, Pastry. It's a hard lesson to learn. You gotta learn as jungler. That is just off limits. No crab for you. Spica comes to collect for TSM after taking the dragon off the bottom side of the map too. And it is the differences between playing the junglers with the early oppressive solo lanes versus being kind of on the receiving end there for Xerxes. You have to give up a decent amount more.
All right, well, looks like back has not been taken just yet. Both bottom lanes actually have been sticking around for quite a while.
I was going to say there's no more charges in Revenge's potion here, so he has no more sustain left. Maybe if Huni had landed one more Shock Blast, they actually go for the dive. Spica takes a long route around there, deep vision, making sure they have all corners covered here within the blue quadrant of the jungle before actually going for the counter jungling. But Revenge being very careful here. He knows he's got no more sustain left, so he doesn't want to take any extra harassment. You see him dropping a couple extra minions there in favor of not giving up health bar, because if he doesn't give up any more, good dodge here, then he's just kind of outside barely the dive range there, and should be able to keep himself safe. He knows he's got no teleport timer, so he has to be a little bit more conservative.
Yeah. Also with Speaker actually counter jungling, that's obviously nice for him. Takes that blue buff away, but wasn't quite enough to get 6, which maybe would make the dive feel a little bit better. But Speaker will go ahead and grab that pretty soon, because he's going to finish off his Raptors now after a little bit of jungle invade action. Huni now cutting away.
Good W.
Seems like we know Volibear is in the area, but now a 2v2 is brewing. Huni going to get stunned up first of all. Speaker here now, but now Huni target. Xerxes pretty beefy. Revenge also with a good amount of damage, and Speaker maybe has the angle for level 6, but doesn't find a kick.
It's a fun minigame with Volibear and Lee Sin, because if you time it right, expecting the kick play from Lee Sin, you immune it with your own ultimate, plus gaining the extra bunch of HP there, so both of them hold off. Nobody wants to do it early and look stupid. So it's definitely one of those fun jungle games where melee range abilities, you're trying to predict your opponent's timing and what play they're going for, and sometimes you can force out cooldowns that way just by kind of playing chicken with them, but nobody over aggressive there on the top side. I will touch on this matchup too, as far as LeBlanc getting so much more popular with their ability to play into a lot of the melee matchups like the Akali and a lot of the other popular melee mid laners versus stuff like Ziggs, where Ziggs has so much wave clear. It becomes this game of dodging, and you see PoE does have to play a little bit of the health bar game as well, but there's not a lot you can do to regain control of a minion wave unless you have someone on your team gank for kill pressure. And that's what the LeBlanc has in the matchup, is the possibility of kill pressure and kill threat, whereas the Ziggs is always playing for health bars and for minions.
All right, well, battle on the top side as Huni continues to try and bully Revenge here in the 1v1. He's up 25 CS almost, has actually almost a full wave pushing towards him, so going to continue to pad those stats as far as minion advantage goes. Xerxes, though, does finish off the top side Scuttle Crab. Speaker going to go ahead and grab this red buff, and Xerxes going to get spotted here. That's a rough timing, although I don't know if Speaker saw him.
Remember, though, the reason why he's doing this is because the rewards can be so great for Immortals. So even though they haven't found successful plays up here for Immortals, it is correct for me for them to continue to look for these. Both the earlier pass from Xerxes, this attempt here, trying to control vision up there, because, again, if you just get Gwen to that mid-game and get the cat to jump on top, the threat is going to be immense from this combination. And so Revenge here, you know, the TSM side of the plan should also be applauded, as Speaker's doing a very good job keeping Huni with the authority to be very aggressive and continue to harass this Gwen, cause Revenge to lose CS at the tower, threatening those break points of the health bar for the possible dive. So both of them kind of keeping that in mind, and Speaker doing a very good job for TSM in protecting Huni, allowing him to take full advantage and harass there.
I think in general, like, as we see more and more Gwen gameplay, controlling her, like, 2-item spike is pretty important. The faster she gets with, like, Riftmaker plus Nash's Tooth, the worse it gets you if you're on the other side. So it is nice to just, again, pick a more aggressive matchup, make sure your jungler's shadowing correctly, use your top side control that your top lane is giving you to take a Rift Herald there, nice and early for TSM as well.
Yeah.
Things just going swimmingly here. I mean, Sword Art and Lost, not the most fun time, but just fine, really.
I will say it's kind of difficult to judge the power curve, because for TSM you know you need to take advantage of your early game. You have to have this priority. You have to have, you know, Gwen down in CS. You have to have early tower kills. This Rift Herald should guarantee that. They do give up the dragon in payment for it, but I think that is a good payment by TSM. They don't continue to stack the dragons, but as long as their bottom lane doesn't die to a counter dive, it will be successful, because full turret picked up with that Rift Herald. As far as not dying to that bottom dive, though, you see already Ziggs going down through the river, too, threatening to add the bomb. And that threat over the ward there from Insanity does force them to back off a little bit. One turret play in kind of payment.
Lost playing pretty safe there. Raze does shift out. Of course, we know that TSM weren't getting in any quickly.
It's a matter, really, of how far do TSM need to push their early game, you know, and the gold advantage that they want to accrue, so that they don't have to deal with the late stages of, you know, terrible assassins with Yumi on top of them, and Ziggs AoE damage coming through, and the rotation of Ziggs through with the satchel charges blowing up these outer turrets. I think it's a decent pace right now, but it's going to come down to the execution. This PowerPoint of a lot of the mythics being done for them does look quite good, and they're taking advantage as far as counter jungling. So not a lot of excessive risks being taken, and yet the value is still getting there. Gromp plus blue plus wolves. The full blue side take here from TSM is the reward. So even though some turret plates also on answer on bottom side due to the jungle presence from Xerxes plus the kind of halfway roam from Insanity are some form of extra income, it's still TSM trying to mine away extra resources.
Yeah, I think as long as you're continuing to lean into wherever Huni is on the map as a pressure point and getting something from it, you don't need to do anything dramatic to build the lead. It should build fairly naturally. And granted, how long you do that for is a different question, right? Because eventually Gwen will get enough gold and you will get enough items where things will be problematic.
I've got these thought bubbles in my head of like, oh man, this could get real scary with this, with the DPS output and the threat of this Immortal squad scaling. PoE goes in for a big play.
Chain flashes over as well. Now the center ulti going to do a bit of extra poke, but Speaker has to kick Xerxes instead. Now actually PoE is going to go back in. But Insanity low throws the ulti over the top of the wall to make sure a little bit of poke happens, but TSM still staying proactive here.
So that's two flashes, but also 2 health bars. So if they rotate Huni over, Huni has plenty of damage to take down a turret, and you get more out of those chunks. Turret plates are still available. 3 more seconds. there it's gone. Turret plates are gone. So that actually, while you can't get turret plate gold, you can annihilate this turret like paper. So should result in more territory for TSM. So I think it's a good rotation there from Huni to come over. They get a lot of damage in, and it is only cut off by this big AoE from Ziggs and Insanity with, I think, a very intelligent teleport to keep that tower standing so the domino effect doesn't occur too early on in this game, and you keep yourselves from the breakpoint of TSM swarming into your jungle and taking all the neutrals. Good teleport there halfway down mid to be able to get in range for the bomb, clear out that wave, and make sure TSM don't fully convert on the play.
Yeah, TSM growing a lead, but it's not, out of control just yet for IMT. I think they're still leaning on the comp they've drafted. We've got Mythics now finished on everyone but Yuumi, but of course the supports are always going to be slow.
It's going to be interesting too, because a big thing to think about is a lot of the downfalls of later game LeBlancs mainly come when they're facing teams with very guaranteed hard CC. And that is the way that you punish LeBlanc going in for the late game distortion poke combinations. Volibear technically has a point and click, but he's melee and you have to get in there into the melee range for it. So it can be very difficult to actually punish the LeBlanc for it if the LeBlanc player is at all cognizant of his positioning. So while it can be very annoying, having to deal with Ziggs throwing out bombs and all this poke from Ziggs, Ezreal, Yuumi later on, and then the possibilities of the Gwen going wild if Yuumi decides to transfer over. If your movement is very good, you can outplay this. And if your positioning is good, you can take these opportunities like we saw in mid lane where PoE went for the all-in on Insanity. They did get the health bar advantage and the flashes blown. And those are the types of plays where you're trying to create this space.
Well, IMT trying to answer here in mid, but so are TSM as Lost and Sword Art reinforce alongside Immortals bottom lane as well. Xerxes going to get rooted up here. Tongue lashes out. Power of Evil. Thinking about it, but can't quite get in range for extra poke or a chain. So TSM looking to get zoned out away from this third dragon right now, as IMT do have the current inside track on this Drake.
Yeah, it's very difficult to go through small corridors versus Ziggs because it's very easy to line up your bombs, just kind of bowl in there through the jungle openings. And I like the call from TSM. We don't want to walk into all that damage, all that poke. Keep this map split. Huni made this call a good 40 seconds ago to keep split pushing. And guess what? That Jace annihilates the secondary turret up on the top side. PoE, a couple small little chip damage here towards the mid lane, does whittle it down even further. And TSM do give up the second dragon to Immortals, though they're not within the danger range of approaching Soul yet. I think Immortals, to the earlier point though about comfortability, still just heads down. We're scaling, we're wave clearing. Guess what? The minions don't ever even get close to our tower here anymore with Ziggs on mid lane, and it is up to TSM to keep the pressure. So smart rotation down now from Huni. His tower destroying jobs will never go away this game.
No. Going to be a full-time employee
Exactly.
on demolition work here, as Huni and the rest of TSM's bottom lane do indeed grab that tower. Also, mid is just so weak right now that the Speaker is maybe getting himself caught, at least in a pretty tricky fish to catch. But Yuumi looking to find it here as he does get stunned up. PoE though, gonna indeed deter them, and the poke is there, but not enough damage out of Xerxes with the frostbite. Oh, Speaker back in there. Conqueror proccing, fancies a fight, W's away, gets the Yuumi ulti out, but now here comes the follow-up. Shields there from Xana, Tomkench coming in as well, and TSM, they will get Speaker out safely, but Huni found himself a big flank with the TP. Finally, a first blood is on the table, and make it seconds for Huni as well.
The hammer drops, Pastry. Huni's Jace has been so big for TSM this game. Even though it's not a pop-off moment earlier in the game, the constant pressure. TSM making sure that the jungle attempts at punishing Huni are dissuaded. Spica defending time after time on top side, allow Huni the CS lead, they keep the Gwen down, takes the turrets, and now the time is ripe. You see that call, well orchestrated from TSM. Spica goes back in for the harassment. Now Huni's not done yet!
Huni gonna make it a triple!
Flash into the wall! Face first Pastry, and that is a face full of pie!
All right, well, Xerxes trying to follow up once again, but this didn't work out so well last time. Now, Yumi's still there, attached to the volley, but Huni going back in, Speaker there as well, but the rest of the squad is reinforcing. Revenge is here. Yumi of all champions grabs the shutdown, and here comes Revenge as well. Speaker with a very nice flip around, but it's Insanity that cuts him off with a bomb.
And just as we start getting hype here, TSM getting aggressive, you know, forcing some of these plays, teleport deep in there for Huni, getting some of the kills racked up, they get a little bit too ambitious with the play up there on top lane. And we need to, again, caution against some of this money being given back to the Immortals team. You see how difficult it can get. Ziggs covering here, Insanity, you know, the constant threat of pushing all these lanes for TSM should remain for this whole game. As we said, you know, the tower destroying jobs for TSM, they're never going to run out. There's always going to be a new one on the other side of the map. And they kept PoE down there while they're doing these top lane shenanigans. But here it is. He finds Raze. There's going to be a flash right into the wall. Face plant there. So Huni gets his name in lights. And that's when his blood starts pumping. He's feeling real good about these last couple of plays, last couple of kills here. But as Spica gets caught and the Ziggs comes through, constantly throwing out, you see all this extra damage from the bombs, from the minefield. Pops him, and it means Revenge able to slip in here. He whiffs the ultimate. Spica slides back over, but guess what? Ziggs gets another one there. So Insanity starting to rack up money, and this is guaranteed output here for the whole game. Your minion waves will feel it. Your champions will feel it. It's a Leandry's build, so cuts through any sort of Tom Kench health stacking very quickly there. Front line, back line, doesn't matter. Whoever gets hit from a bomb.
Any line, all the lines.
It's going to blow up. And also has the early magic penetration there with the shards, so even if you try and start building those defenses, which they know they will. As we mentioned in Champ Select, a lot of magic damage on Immortals. So guess what? Going to be a lot of magic penetration early on for their champions.
Well, the nice thing for TSM, even though there's been some exchanges in different areas of the left side jungle, TSM are absolutely smashing on turrets. I mean, 4-0, so much extra space, all the extra gold. Now the fight's going to start.
And they have to, because of the nature of the team comp. Okay, I love this. Rift Herald down mid, try and pressure them, make them choose between the base and the objective. Because PoE finished off the secondary turret, so the minions are already at the inhibitor, and that means you continue full court press from TSM. Need to keep on pushing on them. If you continue to push on these side lanes, continue to push on these towers, you try and open up the opportunities for yourselves to take stuff without Immortals being able to cover enough distance to put out all the fires. You have to play the whole map, because if you run straight into them, you give back some money, then you're going to be running into a straight brick wall as the game does get late. And they're still playing that power curve. We haven't had the breakpoint yet, Pastry, so there's still hope for both sides.
Yeah, Gwen has one item. Yumi has one item too, but we're still a little while away. PoE actually picking up his Void stuff now.
The Shirelia's is so big, though. With the changes to it and the amount of move speed that you add with the Yumi now,
Look at this volley there.
It's going to be insane. Yeah, so definitely a lot of options here. Gold, pretty sizable advantage there for TSM, but Immortals doing their due diligence and clearing out the vision, making sure the biggest of objectives don't go away. They're just trying to lose little bits at a time until they get their moment for their fight versus TSM.
All right, well, again, going to be very annoying because PoE is still split pushing in the side lane.
Speed!
Kench getting speed on, and that blast plant, not enough, actually. I think it was just a Ziggs satchel. Yeah, there's no plant there. Nice kill there for Xerxes.
Oh, well, we finally saw the Yumi hop on Gwen for about 1 second.
Looks
maybe,
pretty good.
Maybe 2 seconds. Didn't even need it. It was a little bit overkill there. It's just full team swarms at him. Boom! All they need is the Shirelia's speed, and that is an instant pick for Immortals. This is where you start to get worried, Pastry. They get one pick, and a tower goes boom.
Speaker again trying to find something there, but kind of tough in the 4v5.
And I think that was one of those fishing attempts I was talking about between the mind games of the Lee Sin Volibear matchup, where it's really fun. You go in melee range, you force them to think about the opportunity of your kick. Am I kicking now? Is he trying to force out the Volibear ultimate, basically, in exchange? And trying to use that to deny the knockback. But again, it's a second stalemate.
Blue build for Huni, really nice. Actually gets that steal away.
Raise has TP.
Couple souls for Lost as well, as Baron has been started. Yep, still going. TP in, and IMT know what's up, but TSM likely looking to turn here.
They got a land poke.
Xerxes poked a little bit, Speaker a little too low starting that Baron, so TSM will just back away. Power of Evil, excuse me, back to mid lane. But now IMT actually have an opportunity to make something happen here, maybe on the Baron, cut them off, get vision in the jungle. Huni will have that recall cancelled, so IMT now have control of this area for a brief moment in time.
And honestly, that is a big win for Immortals. 24 minutes into the game, to be able to stop TSM from gaining these advantages on your side lanes. If they're all grouped up on this Baron, and you only have to expend one teleport of your AD carry to force them off. So you see TSM have to full reset. They have to go back to stage 1 of pushing out these waves from their towers. PoE down in bottom lane, Huni right back up to mid lane, and get their game plan back in order. But this is very deep for Spica.
Speaker is surrounded, does not have enough vision to make this play. Now going to have to get himself out, hops away to the Blasco and gets out, but the Yumi slow tags him. And now forced to flash, and here comes the ulti. Not going to get tagged, but Volibear maybe still in hot pursuit. Not yet.
Push on all the other sides, Pastry. It is guerrilla warfare for TSM. Always pressure all lanes. The split push is real. They have to stick to it. Tom Kench waiting to bring Senna over if Immortals went for the Baron. You see how TSM are covering multiple options there.
Huni getting chased, but should be okay. Huni knocks him back. Xerxes with the Yumi attaches a big issue. Speaker again getting a little too close to the volley there. Power of Evil's not done. Still taking this tower.
You got to keep poking and prodding. You don't want to run into the bear
Right.
that is Immortals' team. And so they do it. They continually make the offensive incision for Huni, for Spica. Use their mobility to get right back out. Keeping vision, keeping tabs on the Immortals squad. Frustrating Immortals in not being able to find that engage. And allowing PoE to slowly whittle away at the bottom side of the map. This entire time, by the way, why Immortals kind of hesitate in some of the situations is because they're also respecting, now once you get rank 2 on Abyssal Voyage for Sword Art, you gain a tremendous amount of range. Level 1 ultimate from Tom Kench.
Like a little pond.
It's pitiful.
Yeah.
It's barely down your own lane, even like halfway from one tower to another. But rank 2, you get a bunch of range back, and so you actually get some of that cover that you know from the older days of the TK playing some of the split push.
Power of Evil still down here. Revenge actually the one to currently challenge this lane. Power of Evil, good bit of poke there. Ludens procs in, dives through. Revenge pretty tough to block LeBlanc because she is the damage in many cases when she distorts on top of you. The Power of Evil still should be able to run the side lane plan here. In fact, TSM looks like they just took a quick reset to make sure this Drake goes their way.
I'm actually quite curious why TSM didn't start pushing the side wave first, but because they jump on the dragon, they're able to just burn it down anyway. And the DPS difference here is going to mean they finish it off no problem. They don't have top wave pushing in their advantage, and Immortals do have, control over the Baron pit with the extra wards through here. Maybe they get to the break point where they're just too frustrated and they try and force TSM's hand, but TSM are fine with this. They've got double teleports ready, so even though they give up a small 20 seconds there,
Hey, don't die. That's the trick though. Oh, the double roots there. Xerxes dives in. Lost just gets obliterated. And now Sword Art trying to cut his way out, but he's not going to be able to get to safety. Sword Art will fall as well. There's the double out of Xerxes, but the inhib does go the way of TSM.
And you see they keep Huni pushing bottom, so that is one inhibitor. He's not going to stop there. They have to send something back. If you burn down Baron and it gets stolen, you might lose this game. Really good call to send just Ziggs here to wave clear, but Spica still wants this seal, and PoE is threatening the LeBlanc damage to combo with it.
All right, Spica's smite is pretty deadly. PoE actually chunking out Revenge now. Has to flash out of the way.
They need this.
Not going down that quickly
Immortals
either.
need this Baron.
There's the TP in. TSM actually may just straight up contest it. Spica tags it. 2.5k. Huni around the back. The boss center in there. And oh my god, Spica, he's done it again. He's going to pay for it with his life, but he steals the Baron away.
Oh, Spica slips right in. Quick hands on the execution there for Baron 2. They had so much damage with then teleporting Huni in. Both TSM's teleports invested in getting extra threat behind the back of the Baron. LeBlanc and Jace both so difficult for Immortals to deal with, and they made the call. We're flipping it. Guess what, Pastry? They flipped it, and the table is on the floor. All the pieces are scattered all over because the split push team gets the Baron. You can take a look in the Honda Performance replay. Where did all the damage come from? Let's take a look at how they actually layered it. Senna ult comes through, Shock Blast goes through, PoE goes in. That actually became really close, because PoE and Jace actually back out of the pit by the time it got down there. And remember, Smite is 900 damage, so and that sucker was sitting at 1,010 maybe around right before, and so you have to combo with an auto with something right there. E slap down from Spica exactly with that Smite, and is able to get it.
All right, with that, TSM, you said they've kind of been looking for a way to break this game open, right? They've been up about 5,000 gold for most of this game, but it's been a very steady stream of advantages being snowballed. Now TSM can do way more damage with his Baron, way more damage with the Death Cap Power of Evil has, but he is currently in a 1v4 trying to run away from Yuumi. First slow doesn't connect.
Yuumi Gwen.
Out the chain, and Power of Evil just can't get out. Yeah, LeBlanc gonna dash once, gonna dash twice, but they're gonna keep going for revenge. Should be able to find it here. He's going to get followed up, but now in the alcove, not able to escape. The bomb's going to find him as the shutdown goes to Insanity.
Again, but time is of the essence, Pastry time in TSM. As long as you can buy time with your death for PoE, their team will get something. Baron allows it to be almost 2 inhibitor turrets and just gets the second one. Now they need to scramble, though, because there's a lot of speed on Immortals.
Vico looking to kick, maybe, no, just dashes out. Again, the Yuumi ult committed, but no route is found for TSM. Now Xerxes dashing through the river, looking for Sword Up, but TSM, they've just scattered Kobe.
And they've got to do that. Again, you got to quickly hit and then retreat, because there's so much chase down on Immortals. The timing here works out so well for Spica. Counting his blessings for that one, because that was going to be a quick snip if he did not get so lucky with his timing there, and they actually checked the brush instead of hitting the Scryer's Bloom first. But again, we are getting to the late game. Now we're putting to the test. How crazy is the Ziggs wave clear? Let's take a quick test here on these super minions with the Leandries.
Not bad.
Not too bad. Is able to clear them out.
Needs a boost from the Death Cap that's incoming, but not sure how far away he is from that one. Pretty sick. Oh, there you go, right there.
Boost acquired, my friend.
All right, well, that is going to help a lot on the wave clear front. Insanity actually leading the charge as far as KDA goes for IMT, so he's clearly got a lot of gold, even though PoE has been stuck in the side lanes for a millennia.
35 seconds. It is a Cloud Soul, and guess what? Speed is a very important stat for this TSM team with the champions that they have here and the game plan of trying to play the entire map. Speed could literally win you the game on getting inside the base, finish off inhibitor turret, getting away from a Yuumi boosted up Volley Bear or Gwen. So as much as people sometimes lower value on Cloud Drakes, this one's actually really
it's just so easy. Gwen, snip, snip. There's the 2 carries from IMT. Taking out Huni, who's trying to get that inhib.
Yeah, Gwen snip, snip, and Ziggs boom, boom. Insanity now is level 18 on the Ziggs. Immortals also will cut off the Cloud Soul, so they get wins on both sides of the map, Pastry. And again, that power curve of, are you ahead of the time?
Ray's getting dope, but the Yuumi is there. PoE separated, but they'll get out of there. Zerx's actually still in the mix. PoE's clone gonna walk in and be okay.
Oh, the clone stood no chance. Ends up going down in the end. They'll mourn its loss, I'm sure, for a long period. PoE sad without his double, but he'll be more sad about the money that they just gave up to Immortals and possibly the time in that Dragon take. So the successful pick in a side lane plus denying Cloud Soul from TSM, really going to go a long ways here for Immortals. They are approaching the God late game. Staff of Flowing Water now done for Yuumi as well. 8 stacks on the Dark Seal. Very easy for Destiny to continue stacking that one, so you upgrade that to the Medjai's quickly. You get another quick power boost. Revenge, though, gets... Oh! LeBlanc truly is a magician, Pastry time.
Yep.
Now you see him, now you don't.
Nice little sleight of hand there from PoE. Deletes poor Revenge. I think that was the chain proc. Must have had a sigil on it. PoE is certainly not short of damage. We saw Xerxes almost get blown up. And Yuumi heal can't help you if you die in the full combo, Kobe.
That is actually going to be an insanely important pick, too, for TSM because the base is wide open. And without the Gwen, that's most that's most of this threatening power from Immortals. Now they just have a lot of wave clear and poke, and you're just sitting here waiting for Revenge to come back, the one that's supposed to kill most of TSM. And in that time, off of that Power of Evil pick, 2 inhibitors also go poof.
All right, well, TSM still playing the map well here. Baron's up in 15 seconds. Dragon not for 3 minutes after that, so it is going to be all about this left-hand side objective. TSM might be taking a reset before it, might not. Might just look for it now. TP from Raze, where on earth is he going? Mid lane is the answer, and Power of Evil's ready for the wraparound.
Gwen walking pretty long distance there from the base as well. Not a lot of time for Immortals because the super minions are going to start flooding into 2 lanes. So they're trying to make a hard push up mid to gain priority, knowing that TSM not going to get too risky on the Baron. You see the blue Scryer's trinket used to check vision, and now slowly working their way in. TSM must remain calm. They know that top lane super minions will start to do work for them.
Power of Evil, oh, that's a good attempt, but can't find it instead. Dashes back over the wall, gets out to safety here as IMT. Not really enough vision to get into the river. They did set up in their own jungle, which is nice, as Raze does tag Speaker briefly, but not enough follow-up damage there. And again, at some point, IMT going to spend so much time with these supers, as Huni is also predictably working the last remaining side lane for TSM, that you're going to have to go quickly if you want to make a play around this Baron. Root lands onto Lost, though. Caught by the Yuumi ulti from downtown. It's Insanity with a big old bomb, and now IMT got the power play around the Baron.
Yep, no Yuumi ultimate, but that is so critical because Jace was about to get up to this inhibitor. Immortals now actually going for the pick onto Spica and PoE.
All right, well, IMT going to have to wrap around the other side, but Revenge is getting dove right now. He's going to stay alive for a bit longer. Speaker moves in there. Revenge skips back. And now the Yumi's there to save the day. Huni, though, bot side does get the Ziggs and the inhib, but Raze is able to finish off Speaker, so Huni's going to have to evacuate.
It's a scramble, pastry time! Huni makes a rush into the base to try and get the last inhibitor. And now, the synergy of all 3 inhibitors down. It buffs up every single lane. The homework you have to do from clearing out now 3 inhibitors is tremendous. Every lane with the double buffed up super minions. TSM just acquired as much extra map pressure as they will get throughout this game. So the true test, can Immortals make use of their next Shirelia's active to find that pick? Yuumi ultimate is available. They need to force to find the timing window here. If they can pick someone from TSM, that buys you time to wait for your inhibitors to come back up. So they're trying to force them back out on the map by starting up this Baron, but the Super's already inside, and so is Huni.
Yeah, Huni's just not leaving. I mean, they've got TP as well for PoE. It's only Insanity that has his teleport right now, so TSM could just go for gold here. They have to get through 2 Nexus turrets and the Nexus itself, so gonna need some minions for that particular play, but again, the big supers in topside are going to make this Baron very tough, and Speaker's going to start it up nice and early.
Yes, sir. No reason not to. They have basically infinite sustain on this Baron up here with Lee Sin by himself, plus Senna heals to come in. So you just keep starting it up, force Immortals away from their super minion killing duty. You buy 15 seconds of that.
Lost again, though, the target, but Sword Art now the one to get rooted. Volibear diving in. Lost, though, going to get shredded to bits by Volibear. Insanity again with another big ulti is found as Raze also claims Sword Art. Now again, IMT back to Baron with Huni and PoE. Maybe thinking about going for the base, but Xerxes dove on there. PoE's damage now brought to bear as Speaker is able to take him out. And PoE, oh, Insanity. Oh, that bomb is so good, but it's the wrong one as Revenge does swoop in for a bit of that as PoE will be felled, but Huni's popping off. Destiny gets dunked by Hammer Time, and Speaker will not retake that Q.
Look at their base, Pastry! When you get that pick, I thought right after picking off Lost and Sword Art, if Immortals immediately reset back to their base to clear out their super minions, then TSM can't do anything because they're down 2 players. There will only be 3, but it's too much of a force there for Immortals. They wanted to mess around with Baron too, clearing out those extra wards, and they just reached too far. So TSM gets some kills back for themselves, slamming death timers onto Raze, which is going to be 23 seconds, matching up with PoEs. Both of them do have teleports, so it's not going to mean a whole lot, but that window could have been a lot better for Immortals off of a really good pick. This is one of the things they have done super well towards the late game, is just immediately run onto the TK Senna. And they're saying, no matter if you have Devour, will just keep running you down after he spits you out anyway. They have that much speed with the Shurelya's Yuumi to be able to continue to chase. But then reaching too much down around the Baron, they get the counter kill away. They also give up time for the super minions to work on their base, and that allows TSM to get this reset.
Oh, no way. Oh, my God, he got it.
Oh, he did it.
Insanity.
Insanity does it again. He steals the Baron from downtown. That's a Kobe if I've ever seen one. Insanity does it for Immortals. The dream is alive. 3 inhibitors to a Baroned up Ziggs. That means nothing pastry time. He can keep throwing out bombs left and right. 2 inhibitors have respawned. Immortals pull it back.
All right, well, IMT still keeping themselves in the game. Nothing but Baron for that steal out of Insanity. As we'll have the Rocket flip the switch replay. That's very aptly named.
Oh my goodness. No current vision. Both those wards are turned off. There's a control ward in there, so that is just straight up. I want to see it from Fog of War, from his decision making too. On the last time he got a glimpse of that health bar, perfect. And if you saw the health bar of the Baron, the damage of that bomb pastry time.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
That was 1100 something.
Yeah.
Was the last health I saw.
PoE, again, looking for the burst. Xerxes not safe against this LeBlanc.
Oh no, dude. Ziggs is back. Oh no!
Raze gets out of there. Knows PoE is a very big threat, but IMT still on the offensive. Don't have Insanity, by the way. He is level 18, ready to TP as needed, but he is busy keeping Huni out of the base right now.
I might be banning Ziggs in my solo queue games now. One of the things you hate most as a jungler is getting flamed by your team when you get outsmited towards end game objectives, right? Because these are game winning, game losing, and yet you're sitting there and you're like, my smite does 900, so yes, I can combo it with stuff, but it is difficult, you know, when solo laners start to be able to deal capable damage like that. Just amazing ultimate though. You rarely get to see timing like that. Insanity making true here, full build Ziggs, and guess what? With the Baron, they're not done.
Our first Ziggs in the LCS this summer. Insanity is set to carry the late game here. You know, Gwen Yumi's nice and all, but the amount of damage Insanity does, the amount how quickly he melts towers, as we can see on your screen. IMT still 40 seconds almost on the Red Bull Baron buff here. Oh goodness, here we go. The race has begun. Who's gonna win? 1 Lee Sin and 1 Jace versus a Baroned up Ziggs team. TSM maybe getting a little too hasty to try and end this game, because IMT are trying to go for it, but TSM, they're trying to grab those kills. The damage on the next is there. IMT trying to make it happen, but it's TSM that win the race.
Base race, baby! And PoE is praying to the god of Xpeke at the end of this one. Love it when you get that camera moved down to the bottom. TSM made it quicker to the Nexus. I actually, riding high on that one. That was a fun one.
Yeah, you could say that again. I think Revenge in the Play Cam said it all. Head in hands. An extremely close game. Did feel like IMT had done everything they needed to, right? They'd scaled up. They're ready with the Gwen Yuumi. Ziggs steals the Baron to keep them in the game. And at some point, we will watch what happened from the TSM perspective. We only got the INT side of that one.
I couldn't tell if it was just my input over here that didn't have the other side of it. Glad that we are going to get a reveal later on, but man, what a rush down there from TSM at the end to clutch it out. It's so stressful. You can see it there. All the players. PoE's been playing this whole map for the entire game here. You know, TSM, they're constant full court pressure. And that gets exhausting, you know, when you're facing this Yuumi powering up Volibear, powering up the Gwen, trying to run you down, constantly getting these picks. We even had the Miracle Ziggs ult steal on the Baron, and it still wasn't enough for Immortals.
That's one of the closest base races we've had in a while. Oh man, Ziggs, pretty good champion. Hopefully we'll see a little bit more of that, either bot lane or in the middle lane. Oh yes, here we go. Oh, the Nexus Towers was so low.
Yeah, they just run straight to. A little foreshadowing there.
Oh!
So, well, honestly, it's not spectacular. We just needed the timing to match up.
So this is the thing, right? They had started that push for so long ago and actually got them quite low. And Nexus towers do regenerate. They just regenerate so slowly.
You know how long ago they started that push? This was probably about minute 4 when Huni started pushing that top lane. He's been working on towers. Did we say the tower destroying job is not going to go away the whole game? He just keeps on getting quest after quest. It's the same old quest giver that comes up to you. Hey, Huni, would you like a new quest? Destroy a tower. Oh, yes, thank you. I'll take that
Is the game broken? I'm rolling the same daily every day. I'm logging in. I'm trying to do something else. I mean, Huni LLC is like, open for business, taking every tower-taking contract that you can possibly have on Summoner's Rift. I almost wonder if, like, heuristically, IMT are like, oh, our towers, like, they have to be close to full health. We can win this race, but when they're that much lower, it looks silly in the moment, but you have to make a literal split-second decision.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the damage that TSM had already done for 40 minutes throughout that game meant that Huni could kind of, what's on in there and finish off the game.
Yeah, I mean, it's also so hard, too, because it's so frustrating to play the other side of it. When the entirety of the map is closing in on you the whole game, and you just keep reaching out, trying to make these picks, trying to grab these objectives, and then you finally get your moment. You finally steal the Baron. You're running back through the base, and it takes over. But you have to keep that map awareness. You have to keep your eye on the timing. You've got Baron-empowered recalls. Those are free tickets back, okay? You got to take those free tickets.
Unfortunately, not how it worked out. As we are, as you can see behind us, organizing an interview on the stage, and looks like it's going to be a fun one, given how the game ended. But we'll get there when we get there, not too far away, I'm sure. I think we just have to take a breather, honestly. I guess I'll mentally check that one up for replay files in 5 years or whatever, because that was a pretty dramatic base race. Maybe we'll do a compilation of.
I just love the camera work too on the Ziggs bomb as it's coming in, and you're like, that is looking like it is in execution range. 1400, 1200, 1100, boom. Whew. Especially too, there's so much fun now with pro views. I love the detectives that go back to get speak as POV, because you've got the control ward down there in Baron. You have full vision coverage of it. It is blacked out. It is fog of war for the opponent team. And then you hear it. The noise. You see the bomb coming over your shoulder. Oh no! And it gets stolen. Still a happy ending for them, and they won the game.
Yep.
So you know what?
Good enough. Actually, 2 Baron steals that game. Other again, lots of moments in that one. We are going to head over to the stage now to join Dash, Huni, and PoE in our Verizon post-game interview. Take it away.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. That game was so nutty, I had to get a twofer on this one. Both Power of Evil and Huni here for the post-game interview. I want to get both perspectives of the end of that game, because as a spectator, you guys obviously didn't see it, but we were very much seeing the perspective of the TSM base getting sieged and almost going down. And then at the last second, we see the Huni player cam look over to the rest of the squad like nothing was ever a concern. So first, from your perspective, Huni, walk me through those final momings.
I mean, honestly, I was not even watching my base. Just hope for the best. I just trust my teammate. Nothing really changed. Just focus on my play. I was thinking, how should I break the base as soon as possible?
Auto take W.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I should not messed up won my auto. I mean, that's what happened, and
that could make the difference too with how close that got, because Power of Evil, you were on the other side of that perspective on the base defense.
Well, it was as you could see, we couldn't win the 5v5 ever, so we just permanently split pushed. And I remember I saw the Ziggs on the inner turret, and I already decided I need to base right now, because I play Ziggs myself, and at this time with 6 items, he 2 shots to turrets, 2 shots to inhibitor. And Huni made the call that he's going to just solo try to end the game. And
Were you in support of that call? Or at the time, did you think
I said,
maybe...
I think they're faster. And then we just decided he was strong calling that he's going to do it anyway. So I was like, okay, we need to kill the Ziggs. So in the Baron, in the Nexus defense, I just flashed on the Ziggs, because we just need to get him off the Nexus. And it was so wild. I think 1 second and we would have probably lost.
Yeah, I think you are exactly right. And Huni, I am curious for you, as that game you know, in some senses deteriorated. It went from 3 inhibs down, felt like you guys were in full control, were able to secure that very first Baron. The second one, of course, would get stolen by a Ziggs ultimate. Why do you feel it was that you stalled out? Able to get all 3 inhibs, but not able to close immediately after?
I think it's just like, I think same thing. Like, obviously, I think the Nashor's one is like really, really big. Like, I think if we get a Nashor's, like, the base race just would have not even happened, how I see. And as soon as they get Nashor's, like, the game nearly like 50-50. Like, whoever just like make a better call, like they win. Like, maybe just like make a small mistake, just insta lose. And yeah, I mean, that's what I think that was like biggest reason why it was like not able to close out, even though we got triple inhibitor.
I think as well that when we got the triple inhibitor, it was actually a 5v4 because Grand face checked me in the line bush and we killed her, so we could just kill all the nexus, all the inhibitors, because it was really hard otherwise.
Had that man advantage.
Yeah,
you definitely
exactly.
saw the power of their team fight if all 5 players
Yeah.
were allowed to be in the same spot. Now kind of backtracking, I have some curiosities around the state of TSM in the split. Twofold. First, I'll come to you, Power of Evil, just on the way that TSM has apparently approached the meta and champion select. It's been very fun to watch. You guys look to branch out and capture different styles. Last week, of course, there was some criticism for the 2 lost to Lucian games, but quickly swapping over to the LeBlanc, and LeBlanc again here, another aggressive assassin-oriented pick that seems to be working out very well with you. Is it a super conscious effort to look to expand that playbook and give yourself more winning options?
I think we have played a lot of Midland champions before, and I think we just have right now a really good opportunity to like branch out to even more like the Akali or like the LeBlanc, the Lucian, because as you could see in the 4-5, they banned the double mages against me, so we can always fall back to the mages if we want to, but now we have the option to like, kind of play whatever we want to and whatever fits the best for us.
Now, from that, I'm curious, your perspective, Huni, what the change in format allows for teams that are at the top of the table to do differently than maybe they would have been able to do in the past. You kick off the split well ahead of a lot of other teams and have been vying for that first place position. But given, that you only have to make top 8 to make playoffs, it does feel like the top teams from spring are afforded more runway to make creative plays and even drop games while you look for new ways to win.
Can you repeat again? The question was too long.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm
from Spring Split. Can you?
Do you feel like the format has given you the option, to try new things because you can essentially afford to take a few losses and still make playoffs?
Yeah. I mean, definitely there's more options. Like, we try more stuff. I think definitely there's like more, like we can try more stuff on the Steven stage. Like, I think even what we said, like before we go stage today, like I think it was like more important thing was like, it's not lose or win. It's just more about like, just prove ourselves that how much we improve, like what we did wrong like last week and then what we're doing well this week. And that was all the matter. And not the 100% happy like what we did today, honestly, but
there's
like
some stuff to review.
No, that didn't feel clean. That's not how you want to win every game.
I mean, there's 2 games more that we can prove ourselves. Like,
exciting for us.
Prove everyone. So I think I'm looking, so exciting to see even tomorrow and 2 days after.
All right, final question over to you, Power of Evil, is on, again, kind of the state of the top echelon of our league. There are a number of teams that have made roster changes, coaching changes, and all of that who are already at the top of the table. TSM is not one of those teams. So I'm just curious for you as you kind of look back on spring and what you guys identified in the offseason as the things you need to work on, where you guys are at in your summer split journey and looking towards taking that title.
Well, I generally feel like making actually like a big change between spring to summer is actually not a good idea because I think synergy is really important and communication is really important. And I feel like you can see in teams that stick together, like even Immortals, they're doing way better than last split. And I feel like it helps you, or like a lot of teams undervalue the fact that if you're a 5-man unit and you're a 5-man team and you're working every day together and you kind of know what the other people want to play, how they communicate in the game, that helps a lot. And I think we have a big advantage because of that.
It gives you the ability to blind trust your top laner who's TPing in to take the base race.
I trust him.
Yeah, exactly. I know you do. I know you do. Well, it was a beautiful victory at that. It was the most exciting one of the day and honestly the split up to this point. So congratulations on the victory and thank you for giving us such a show.
Thank you.
From here, we're heading to a break. When we come back, is Game 4 of the day. Stay tuned.
I didn't order a pizza.
I know. But that Parker promo saved me so much in my insurance. I brought you a little something special.
Parker, State Farm offers everyone surprisingly great rates.
You're the man, man.
You want the real deal? Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.